So this is the story of me going down to my last $1.34 in my bank account in the year 2015. This is a very, very interesting one. I got this question kind of inspired on stream asking about like, hey, did you ever hit a rock bottom moment? And I've had a couple. I'd say this is like the one that really sticks with me still to this day. Obviously, it's more financial. And yes, to get out of the way, for those who know my age, 26, you're probably wondering like, wait a second. So you were a kid at this point. Like this doesn't, that amount in your bank account at 17 is a lot different than at 35 years old. I get that. I completely understand, but understand that still at the same time, all my expenses were on my own. Like I was, other than the roof over my head and a couple other factors, like if I wanted new clothes, if I wanted food, if I wanted X, Y, and Z, I had to buy that stuff on my own. And I just wanted to quickly clear that out of the way. And I like talking about this stuff because it's still something I think about all the time. I think everyone has a rock bottom moment. And I think whether it's financial, emotional, if it's like a breakup or something, I think this video can at least help you get out of that rut. And this isn't really a how-to. This is like a completely unscripted, just off-the-cuff video that I wanted to talk about the specifics behind. And I'm going back to this time. I'm 17, 26 now, so I would have been like 16, 17, and I was doing binary options trading, which I don't even think is legal in Canada anymore. But I was down. I put my $200 in, which was the minimum deposit for this. I'm trying to come up with screenshots. All morning I've been looking at trying to find where this is. My bank statements only go back to 2018. So if I input something here, you'll know that I found it or find a workaround, but I will upload some screenshots maybe of these accounts, just these screenshots of different ones that I've got on my like 2-3 iClouds ago. It's really interesting to look at. And I was on my last 200 and I don't even think they were legit payouts. Like even if I did win, binary options it's hard to explain, but if you just search it up on Google, it'll explain better than I can. You're basically predicting if a stock will go up or down, and that's what you're betting the money on. It's very simple. It's quick trades, etc. And during the summer of 2015 is when I got into real estate wholesaling. So I was just, at this point, this is when, if you know, my dad and I are clashing heads all the time. We are constantly at one another's head, and we're just like, dude, like, you need to get a job. And it's like, no, trust me. You need to trust me. I don't need that. I can make this work. Another thing I did was Twitch streaming, which was really dumb, but I actually had some initial traction. I didn't make any money, but I got into that for the wrong reasons of obviously making money. I wasn't actually like super passionate about it. So it was interesting. And I guess what led to this was I just lived off of birthday and Christmas money. That was my income, right? And the wake-up call moment for me didn't come until end of 2017. I had tried so many damn things. 2016, I got a very small inheritance from my grandma that I only got released at a certain age, and it was incremental, and it was like $1,000. I think it was like 1,100 or 1,200 bucks or something like that. So that kept me going for a while. But point is, I didn't make any money. I was just trying. I wanted to prove to myself and my father that it's like, I can do this. Like, I'm going to rub it in your face. I'm going to make this work, whether you like it or not. And it did. It took me a decade to get here. I'll have something in the thumbnail of like what I'm at now. But it took me 10 solid years, and only the last couple of years did I really start making strides, and I really start making good money. And that's what, I guess the first message I want to say is like, dude, this thing takes time. Nobody is expecting a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, even if you've got the drive, to make millions. Like that's just not, I'm not saying it's not realistic. It's definitely happening in today's day and age for sure, but just set your clear expectations. Don't overvalue what you don't need to, and just be careful, man. Like, trust me, be a kid, but also, drive into that ambition. That was one of my biggest characteristics back then. One of my big pros was like, I was just, it's scary how much I wanted to make things work, how much I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was on step 10 and I needed to get through steps 1 to 9 first. So I guess that was kind of a wake up call moment. And there was no actions that I took to get out of that, but the mindset shifts that did happen were like, just try everything, try as many things as you possibly can. And that's exactly what I did. And I guess there weren't any bad habits that I had. I was just extremely stubborn. I was so close to making money. Maybe I'll throw up a screenshot where I was right there on completing a wholesale deal. And it was like a multi-seven figure. It was 2 point something million. I've got the screenshot somewhere. And then the seller didn't want to do business. He didn't understand me and my role as a 17-year-old. He knew my age, so that was pretty stupid for me to share at the time. And he was also French speaking, and he was very hard to work with on like an English. I didn't know French, so it was really hard to work with on that level. But it's like, are you kidding me? Like, it was so damn close, and I was so, just there. And my friends, my in real life buddies from high school, we still talk about this to this day. We would work out in the mornings, and then we'd go to lunch. Not every day, but at least like 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a week. And they would ask me, it's like, all right, we're going to McDonald's. All right, we're going to Subway or whatever. What are you getting? I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry. They'd look at me with those eyes of like, dude, we just worked out for like an hour and a half. Like, you're obviously hungry. What are you getting? And I'm like, dude, I'm not hungry. Trust me. Obviously, I was starving. I was so damn hungry. You have no idea. My stomach was growling, and I just worked out. So I look all flat. It's basically just a term to say like you got to pump, and once the pump wears off, if you don't like refuel, I just felt weird. I felt skinny. I felt like I was fasting all day. 'Cause sometimes I would. Sometimes I'd sleep in from missing the bus because I was streaming so damn late that I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to school with no food. Like, it was that just like grit. And my dad, again, like I said, he never gave me food money. He's like, you got to earn that on your own. I'll keep the roof over your head, take what snacks or what groceries from what we got lying around the house, which wasn't a lot at that time. And it was just like, you're on your own. You want clothes? Go get it. You're going to have to spend your own money. And he didn't understand, that kind of point. But it was so interesting just looking back. And I guess I was setting up my skills. I was forcing my skills. If you follow this channel long enough, you know that I'm so big on skills. And even though I wasn't making any money, I was still just learning sales, learning how to very lightly market, learning how to, dude, the guy who just applies himself will probably do more than the person with this crazy technical background or this crazy school background. It's like, I didn't want any of that. I knew I wasn't good at school, but I knew I wanted to make things work, and I knew I could make other people money. And that's exactly what I was trying to do. So I don't know. It's really interesting. This is completely separate from my business background, but it's just interesting going back to this time in my life when, it's over a decade or coming up on a decade now, depending on what month you're tracking. And it's just the mistakes were clear. I made so many mistakes. I made daily mistakes. But listen, if you're in the same position, if you're like in a really bad financial spot, I can't promise you things get better. You have to apply yourself if you want things to get genuinely better. That is a guarantee, okay? But invest in you first. If there's anything I learned, it's like I was always focused on, putting that $200 into the stock market or into the binary options, which was BS. I was always, maybe thinking of investing in real estate where I could, or like REITs or whatever. But it's like, dude, if you just invest some of that money into yourself, into like actual courses instead of having to learn the hard way, I probably would have made so much more money so earlier on, right? So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about. Going from literally rock bottom financially, at least as a kid, to, as a 26-year-old now doing moderately okay and seeing some financial success. And this is really just the beginning. So hopefully this spoke to you in some way. As always, if you've made it this far, I want to see you in. Comment below, actually. Do you have a story? Do you have a similar story to me? I'm all good if I'm alone. I'm a weirdo, but I'm really curious to hear if you've had a similar situation or what your rock bottom moment is. So thank you. We'll see you in the next one.